Hello, and welcome to the channel. For this video, I'm taking you on a guided walking tour of Adventure Island Water Park, located in Tampa, Florida. Well, once again, I just wanted to thank you for joining me on today's walking tour. This is the very first time I've ever been to Adventure Island Water Park. I recently purchased an annual pass to Busch Gardens and SeaWorld, and this year is the very first time I've ever been to Adventure Island and Aquatica. Now, my first impressions of this park are kind of so-so. It just seems kind of average. I mean, when you walk into the entrance of Aquatica, which is the park I was at last week, it really kind of blows you away with the theming and like the tropical landscaping and everything. And this park just seems a little more generic and doesn't. I know they're trying to establish like some sort of island theme, but it just, I don't think it really works particularly well. And right away, this is kind of my first negative experience. You see on the ground where this blue area is. This is these are, I guess, what you would call like foot puddles. In the water parks built in, like, I guess the 70s and 80s, they used to have these like channels of water to soak your feet, to keep your feet, cool on the pavement, because let's face it, the pavement here gets really hot in the summertime. And I remember Six Flags Atlantis used to be my home water park, and they had these things running all the time, and it was great to soak your feet and prevent them from getting burned on the pavement. Now, I don't know if they shut these things down and drained them for cost-cutting reasons, or whether it was because of the sanitary thing. I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people, their feet are just nasty, and they pass around like athlete's foot and all kinds of fungus and yellow toenails and all kinds of nasty stuff. So I get why these water features aren't really being used anymore, but having that as one of the very first impressions when you walk into a water park of this dead water feature it's just not a great way to welcome people to your water park. At the beginning of this video, on my right hand side, I passed the Riptide Racer, which is one of the newest slides that they added to this park. That is a great little inner tube ride. It has two water slides, a left and a right side, and they're both really fun rides. One of my favorite water slides in the entire park. Now, another thing that I noticed about this park is, even though the website claims it's 30 acres, it feels a lot smaller than that. You'll notice that I completely walk the entire perimeter of the park in only about 12 minutes. So by Florida water park standards, it feels pretty small. I do feel like all the Disney water parks and Aquatica are just significantly larger. And as somebody who's visited pretty much every water park in Florida, I think this is probably the least impressive one. If you have a travel decision where you have to decide on whether you're going to Aquatica or Typhoon Lagoon or Volcano Bay or Blizzard Beach, I'd probably recommend going to those parks instead. Adventure Island to me is what I would call kind of like a supplemental park. It's not worth a drive by itself, but if you're already coming here to Busch Gardens, then it's not bad to tack it on as like an afterthought on the trip. I could definitely see Volcano Bay or Typhoon Lagoon or Blizzard Beach being a primary draw to the Orlando area. And, Aquatica is a very special water park as well because of some of those body slides where you actually, go through aquariums and, dolphins are racing, next to you, and there are things that make all of those water parks in Orlando special, and Adventure Island just doesn't have anything that's like unique or compelling, in my opinion. Another thing I'll point out about Adventure Island is it's not a great experience for single riders. So today I happened to come by myself, and there's a lot of rides here that require a minimum of 2, if not 3 or more, to ride, especially like the spinning rides that are in the giant tubes, that you can't experience a lot of the rides. Whereas, when you go to a traditional theme park, single riders can pretty much get on everything. But I guess that's the nature of the water parks. But Aquatica and Adventure Island do seem to have more rides that require 2 or 3 than the other water parks like Volcano Bay and the Disney parks. So I will say that, and that's probably a knock. You're not going to have probably a great experience if you come here as a single rider. Now, coming up on my left hand side is Colossal Curl. Now that looks like a pretty epic spinning family rapids ride, but I wouldn't know since I was a single rider and they don't allow single riders. When I started doing the narration for this video, I didn't think it would be so negative, but I do seem to be dwelling on a lot of negatives. But on the website, they don't mention how many riders are required for each water slide. And, when I was looking at the park in advance, I was like, wow, I could get on about 25, 30 of these rides. This seems like a lot of water slides. And then the reality is when you get here as a single rider, you can only get on maybe 10, I think. Once you make the rounds on like Calypso Coaster, Aruba Tuba, and Rapids Racer, you're almost done for the day when it comes to single riders. So right now I'm walking around that Solar Vortex family slide. That looks like a hell of a lot of fun, but again, I wouldn't know because I was a single rider and they don't allow single riders. Now, one of the things I should point out now too is there's a lag between when I film these videos and when I actually post them on YouTube. As I have passed Solar Vortex, you're going to notice that there are now signs saying coming soon, Castaway Falls. Well, that area has opened since I filmed this, and now there's a big splash pad water playground for kids at the park. So they do keep adding attractions here at the park. I guess Adventure Island is getting better with time. I just think they've got a long way to go before they'll be one of the best water parks in Florida. So on my right hand side right now, I'm walking beside the Riptide, which is their mat slide. It's a lot of fun. There's almost like a competitive nature to it. You actually kind of race the other lanes going down on Riptide. I do think the sister park, which is Aquatica, has the superior version of this ride though. At Aquatica, they actually have stopwatches for each lane, so it will actually time you going down the hill and let you know what how fast you were able to get down. Now on my left hand side is the Caribbean Corkscrew. I'm kind of indifferent on that water slide. It's okay, but I'm not a real big fan of the enclosed rides that are completely dark. I much prefer the water slides that have either lights and a presentation or theme, or just open flumes where you can actually see where you're going. But the enclosed water slides that are just completely dark, I never was a fan of those. So coming up on my left hand side is both Aruba Tuba as well as Calypso Coaster. Now one of the things that I noticed about that one is there seems to be a lot more tubes for single riders. So if you're a single rider, you'll probably get to the front of the line faster than the people waiting on the double tubes. I found that both of those water slides were pretty much walk-ons for single riders, and it was a real busy day that I was here. And the people waiting for the double tubes for both of those rides were, waiting around forever, probably about a 30 to 45 minute wait. But the single riders, we got our tubes almost instantly. However, obviously you still have to walk up the slide tower, and there's still a bit of a line for that. But at the end of the day, this was one of the few places where being a single rider actually pays off at Adventure Island, so I figured I'd at least mention it. Once again, I apologize if I'm being very negative. It's never my intention to set out to be like this, but I figured I should talk about some of the staffing issues that I experienced here at Adventure Island too. It took me about an hour between the time where I placed my food order and actually receiving the food. I don't know why the food lines move so slowly, but I think it's a staffing issue. And not only that, but the Rambling Bayou Lazy River is probably one of the worst lazy river experiences that I've ever had in my life. That particular lazy river was so overwhelmed with people. The water was just nasty. There was dirt and mulch floating on the top of the water. It was just greasy and nasty. It just wasn't a pleasant experience. Like I said, this is the first time I've ever been to this park, and across the board, I didn't have the highest of expectations, but unfortunately this particular park came in lower than my expectations, and again, I apologize if this is a very negative video. It wasn't my intent when I started making it. One of the positive things that I will say about Adventure Island is that this park is very, very level. There aren't really a lot of hills and valleys, and I do remember walking up quite a few inclines at Aquatica, So if you aren't a great walker, then Aquatica is going to be a challenge for anybody with any type of mobility issues or having trouble. And the other thing is Aquatica does seem to be a much larger park, so it can be quite a heck of a walk to get to some of the attractions all the way towards the back of the park. Another positive thing that I'll mention too is Busch Gardens and SeaWorld do treat their pass holders very, very well. They're always giving you perks and bonuses and little gifts when you come in through the gates. You know, whether it's like collectible pins or you know, a discount on food. Almost every month they offer, you know, $10 worth of Busch Bucks to Busch Gardens, or $10 in Island dollars to Adventure Island, or $10 in Beach Bucks towards Aquatica. So you're always getting perks and spiffs as a pass holder. I've been a Universal and Disney pass holder in the past as well, but Busch and SeaWorld definitely treat their pass holders the best out of any of the major Florida theme parks, bar none. So as you can see on my right hand side is the Surfside Cafe. That is the major restaurant in the park, and I would recommend probably going to that one to eat, because I went to like one of the smaller food stands, and like I said, it took me almost an hour to get my food. I think the Surfside Cafe can probably take a lot more customers and probably faster turnaround time, and you know, if you get your food at Surfside, you probably won't have to wait an hour like I did. Now, if you're planning to come to Adventure Island on a weekend, you might consider investing in a quick queue. They start around $50 and work their way up to the $70 mark for the unlimited version. It will save you quite a bit of time, because they do put you basically right at the front of the line when you have one of those things. This is probably a good opportunity to talk about the cabanas too. The cabanas are pretty expensive here. Like just the basic lounge chair cabanas are like $100, and then if you get one of the big ones with a gazebo, you're looking for anywhere from $279 for the day to $500 for the premium one. So I think their cabanas are overpriced compared to some of the other theme parks out there. But you know, again, if you've got your family with you, you know, you may think it's worth it. I just think they're overpriced personally. Well, that pretty much wraps up my walking tour of Adventure Island Water Park. I hope this video assisted you in your travel planning, and it should give you a pretty good idea of what to expect if you plan to visit the park. Thanks for watching another walking tour with the Adventure Schmuck. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.